All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining this instance of the Antrea community meeting. Today is Tuesday, September the 12th, and we have quite a few topics on the agenda for today. We will start with a new CRD design for live tracing, and this will be presented by Han. And then we'll have a discussion regarding ANT-CTL support for VM entity mode by Mandy. Okay, so since we have quite a few things to discuss, maybe it's better if we start immediately. And let's start with live tracing. Please, Hang, go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, thank you. I will just share my screen. Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So today I would like to present the new CRD design for live tracing. So during the past year, we have proposed a few design for this feature, including the eBPF version and the using the TraceFlow CRD version. So after a few rounds of discussion, today I would like to introduce a new CRD, which is specific for the live tracing feature. So first, I would like to spend some time to introduce the background for this feature. We have an existing CRD for the trace flow, and it is supported to capture the first packet of a net flow, and but we want to extend this feature by capture more packets, because in most of the cases, such as TCP, we would like to, maybe the users want to capture more packets, like a full session for a TCP run TCP session. So I think this would be a useful feature for some of the tragic cases for network like bugs or failures. So in a new CRD has the following benefits compared to extend the existing TraceFlow CRD. The first one is we can keep the old TraceFlow CRD. It's for its like a constrained purpose, and it's more we wouldn't like bring like unrelated features to the TraceFlow CRD, and we can a new CRD, we can also have better support for additional sampling method, because we have a few choices for the capture method, and we would like to support this method in the future. And the final benefit is that we have more choices for the storage, because after we capture the packet, we need a storage location storage. We need a storage space to store the packets, and because the user we would give users the like the time window to fetch the package as their wishes. So I have a sampling CRD example for the package sampling feature. The basic idea is to reuse the package selector from the TraceFlow CRD and reuse the storage choices from the support bundle CRD. So first of the spec is we added our package sampling parameters. For example, we have a hard timeout, which can be set to let the user decide whether the sampling is succeed or not. It will definitely stop at this hard time limit. And after the next field is the type of the sampling. So in the first development phase, we would like to support the most simple one, which is called the first unsampling. Means we want to capture like the first like 32 or 46 this number of packets, and you can set the number limit in the parameter structure. So after after this sampling related fields, we have the similar select fields as TraceFlow CRD, because behind the API, we have a similar logic to choose the network flow. So I think we can reuse the whole structure for flow select, and I think it's maybe more familiar for the users, and they wouldn't have much learning curve to adapt to the new CRD. And after we done the capture and get the actual packets, so we can like transfer the packet data to an external field server. This part was borrowed from the support bundle CRD. We have a support bundle collection CRD, which support users to download the support bundle data from this external server. I think this has the similar effect as the selector, because we already have this design, and I want to reuse the existing CRD design to make the users like feel this is a more familiar and is a simple CRD, so they can quickly like learning and use and learn this new feature. So yeah, this is the basic idea of the CRD structure design. So the other topic I want to share is that we already done some tests on the interval sampling method, which means we can pick one packet out of unsampling. This was natively supported by the Epifix protocol, which is also supported by the OVS. It's a built-in feature. So it has better like performance against the first unsampling. And I think if the CRD design was finished, we can quickly exchange the current feature and support this sampling method. So during the last session, we have a question about if we want to store the packet metadata into the raw packet file, because in the last meeting we use the existing TraceFlow CRD, and some people may wonder if we can combine the TraceFlow information with the raw packet metadata, and because we use the pcap-ng format to store the package data, and it has like a comment section, so we can like store attribute. We can store various metadata information into this section. So we may not like support this in the early stage, but I think there's a possibility we can add this feature in the future. So maybe we can add more flags or field to the CRD to let user decide if we want to add this information in their like final package data. Yeah, I think that will be all, because the CRD is not that complex, and I reused many existing structure from the existing CRD. I'm not sure if this is a good design, and I would let you guys to share your feedback to the current design. And yeah, I think that would be all for my presentation.
Hi, Han. I have a question about
Okay, okay.
the packet criteria. It is for packets or for flow? Because if I want to capture packets of a session, I could specify the source port and destination port, but I would expect that both traffic on both directions could be captured, so I can see the request and the reply and check the delay and check which packet is missing or retransmitted. So my question is, this packet criteria, IP header and transport header, only means one direction, right? But would the other direction be included by default, or we need another way to specify it?
For now, I only consider the single way network flow for the trace for the capture. I'm not sure if we need to like including the both way net flow in the current design. If this was a like a mandatory or better to have feature in for now, I would like to update the current design to reflect the changes to support both way. I think the current spec can support the replay trace flow, replay net flow. Not sure which field like is inconsistent with the for which will break the both the situation you mentioned. You mean the protocol field, right? Or
No, I mean, if I want to capture
mm,
traffic belonging a session,
mm,
the criteria will only match one direction, because if you match
mm,
only support to be 10,000, then you will get only the request
yes.
packets, but that may be not very helpful to debug a whole session, because the reply, we need to see which request didn't get a reply. And the latency of receiving the reply. So
Yes.
in most cases, the other direction is also important. So I'm not sure whether it will be captured by default, or we need another way to let users to express the intention.
To be
Like
honest, we didn't test this case before, but I think the better choice would be if we can, we should make the both way traffic capture be the default choice for users. And if we need more like field or flags to support this feature, I think we can't like do this by default, but on the best scenario is that we can't, and I think we in that case we need to be clearly document this feature for the users that it only support one direction. But I think I would like to spend some time to doing some POC test for the both way traffic first to, and if we need some failed changes, I would like to update the CRD design to reflect the underlying changes. yeah, I think we better support this case, and which is a best effort choice. And if we can't, we need to clearly let the users know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I have another question regarding the data structure of the API.
Mm,
I see that currently, when there is only one type, we
mm,
have
mm,
a type field and a parameters field, and
mm,
the type specific parameter is in parameters fields. And when
mm,
we have another type, I see you put another type specific parameter in parameters field as well. So I feel this is not very Kubernetes style
mm.
because you usually will need to figure out what parameters should be used for what type. And normally in a Kubernetes style API, the type and the type specific parameters are associ- associated and in a way of key and value, so that perhaps it's like you have first and sampling as the key, and its specific parameters as the value. Then user will know that if I want to use first and sampling, I could only specify number. And if I use the other type, I only need to specify the other type specific parameters. I could share some examples.
Yeah, yeah, I get your point, and actually, I have done some research for the type related fields. Yes, I think I know that they are the current way is not the best choice, and I'm not very sure what's the best choices for this kind of spec to be present. So. Uh, I guess I feel like maybe this is the most simple one, and it is a bit of overhead to create a full type specific structure for the sampling related part. But I think yeah, your you yeah, it's better to follow the best practice from the Kubernetes community. So I really appreciate you like share the some good examples for this part of the design. Yeah, thank you.
I got another question, and the last
Okay.
one is about
Mm,
the data we captured. You
mm,
mentioned it's PCAP NG. So
mm.
could it be passed by TCP dump like tools?
You mean is it can be parsered by the TCP dump tools?
Yeah.
Uh, I think so. I didn't test it yet, but I have some like documents related to similar design. So I'm pretty sure it will, but I need a final like confirm for this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think it's good to
Mm,
have TCP dump to be able to pass it. Because normally we want to leverage that tool to or Wireshark to do some searching and filtering to analyze the traffic. If it's not compatible, I think it would be a little hard to troubleshoot with this raw data.
yeah, sure, for sure. I will reflect this in the design, and I think we need to point this part out in the final user document. Yeah, it's a very important part for the competitive of existing tools.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other question for Han on this topic?
Yeah, hello, Han. I have a question about the file server part. I
Mm.
thought that you design a few fields for where to store the package, capture packages. I'm wondering if there is a way, I mean, there are lots of fields, right? I feel it might be better we can provide some default way. Maybe for a cluster, there is a default setting which the package sampling CR can refer to. Then user may not have to set this field.
We have a local storage version for this part, but I'm not sure if this it's like a production ready solution for this. We have some discussion in the last presentation by Shuyuan, but the local storage design is not very stable because it may lose data after re-update or pod restart. So yeah, I'm not sure if this a good choice for
Yeah, I didn't mean the local storage. I just mean that even user provide a file server, for example, the SFTP, they may all have the same file server, right? But if a user need to have this package sampling CR, they have to impose all this information repeatedly. I mean that maybe we can save the effort if we can, I mean, use a default one. Maybe refer to, I'm not sure it's if there is any way, maybe Chuan have thought in the Kubernetes way, how the different CRD handle these parts. But I feel it might be useful to setting a default, allow user to set a default storage.
I have
Without input all these fields again and again in this CRD.
Yeah, I have this question has occurred to me in the design before during I'm designing this CRD. So I also wonder if there are existing ways to support like share the CRD structure between different CR or CRDs. I didn't find a correct way to doing so. So I think the current part we can only do like share also secret. Maybe this is the most this is what we can do for now. I'm not sure if do you know any like better solution for this case if we can share the same information between different CRDs.
To avoid redundancy, normally another object will be created, and then you can refer to that object in this one, and it could be multiple one mapping to one. So, but it would mean the design would require at least two objects and more complexities. So we need to assess whether it's worse. For example, row and row binding, there are two objects, and one refer to another one to represent that a user has some rows, and also the persistent volume and persistent volume claim is also like this. But I think at least even the support bundle just have this redundant information in each object. But if I have two support bundle requests, I would have to create two support bundle collection objects and fill in the same file server and authentication information, right?
Yes, currently, yes.
Yeah, perhaps we could consider in the future, if this feature is widely used and people complains about the redundancy, we could consider create another object reused by support bundle collection and packet sampling to refer to that object to reduce the redundancy. But I feel it's not very important at the first stage.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thanks, Chen. I think maybe Han, you can maybe write down to do for this one in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
All right, so if we don't have any other question, I will move to the next topic in the agenda. Waiting a few seconds. Okay, it seems that it might be all for this. Thanks a lot, Yang, for this presentation, and thanks a lot for everyone who provided their feedback. So next topic is about Ant cattle support for VM agency mode, and Mandy is going to present it. Please go ahead.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to share the proposal for Ant cattle support on VM agent. And the current status is that Ant cattle is not supported for VM agent. So if we run Ant cattle on VM agent, it will be treated as Ant cattle controller mode, and it can cause some unexpected output. I have pasted the code script that how we decide the mode right now. And since for VM agent, we can see that we are not running in pod and don't have any environment variable here. So it will fail for these checks and fall into the default mode, which is mode controller. So if we don't want to introduce any new environment variable for Ant cattle specifically, we will need a way to distinguish the controller mode and the VM agent mode. Also, a VM agent mode will be like mode agent, but it also have some difference. Compared to agent mode, VM agent can only support a subset of command list because we are now only focused on Antrea network policy. Also, the current Ant cattle agent mode have some outputs that are designed for pods. For example, I have pasted the output here. We can see that get an agent info, we will have field like pod, node subnet, local pods, or the get applied to group. We can see the field pods here. They are designed for the ordinary Kubernetes node and for pod, but not designed for VM agent. So as a result, we come to this proposal. And my proposal here is to introduce a new global flag called mode for Ant cattle. And the value here can be controller agent, flow aggregator, and VM. And controller agent and flow aggregator are the current mode, which we have already supported. And the VM mode is the newly added one. And when the flag is not set, we will keep identifying mode by using the environment variables or the pod names like what we have done before. But if the global flag mode is set, it will have a higher priority. And for VM agent case, the flag must be set as VM. And with this mode flag, we can also customize the output according to mode. And here is my proposal, and I have finished a POC according to the proposal. So if people don't have any question according okay, sorry. So if people don't have any question regarding this proposal, I can show a short demo for what I have done, and we can see if there is any comment regarding this proposal and solution. So it's like the the agent mode, but we can see that we will always have a flag called mode on every Encarto command for running on VM agent. So for version, we can get the agent version, the Encarto version, just like the you are running Encarto via the agent pod. We can see the current command that I have supported in this demo. Here it shows the available commands that I have finished in this demo. We can see the address group, agent info, apply to group, and network policy. These are the commands which have already been supported for pod case. And the entity interface is a new one that I added for VM mode specifically. And for the Encarto support, and for agent info, we can see that it will have only have the fields that related to VM. And for previously, I have pasted the result for here. You can see that the pod, node subnet, and local pods, these fields are not shown for VM mode. And other ones like and there's no change for the network policy output. But for the apply to group and address group, I have adjusted a little bit. Previously, it will show the fields pods here, and for VM mode, the apply to are only external entities. So here we only show the external entities instead of pods. And for address group, previously for pods, it has column pod IPs and node IPs, because the from to field of the ANP can also be external entity selector. For VM case, that I add a new one, external entity IPs here to show the IPs for address group.
But Mengde, for address
uh-huh.
group, it should be the same between VM and the port, right? Even for
Yes, that's true. For the I think there is an issue for the current Encarta import as well because these fields are not shown.
okay.
These are the Antrea agent info and the ANP related field commands, and this one is the newly added one. You must remember that we have a Encarta get pod interface for the node for the agent case, and here we can. So just always remember to have a mode flag VM here for each command. And we can see that it will show the external entity, its corresponding interface, and the OVS port. Here are
a quick comment here. If you want to call this mode VM, maybe you should just say VM interface.
This one, right?
I mean that get
the
entity.
command.
Yes.
Okay.
And even for the calling, probably you should think about for some should we use VM instead of its total entity or not?
Okay. Oh, so this one on. Okay.
I didn't think through Mengde. Just a general comment. Probably you should think about each column one by one. I'm not sure you want to change all the columns or just a subset of the columns to VMs.
Okay, sure. Any other comments? So do you like this idea? Yeah.
I have a question about the mode parameter. Do we support reading the environment variable?
Yes. So for the Encarta running in pod or controller mode, if you don't specify this one, it will work as what we have done previously. But for VM case, you must have this mode. But if you are running controller mode or agent mode, you can also specify this mode parameter. But
yeah, I mean, it's better to support allow user to set environment variable, then they don't have to input this parameter in the command line. I mean, is that supported?
Yeah, I discussed this solution with Wenying, but generally we don't want the Antrea to write the environment variable for Encarta to read. Yeah, because if I in my first version I have think about this one. I write like the type, the mode, the environment variable via the Antrea agent. But after discussed with Wenying, we don't think it's a good way for Antrea agent to write any environment variable. But I'd like to know.
I didn't mean to use the Encarta to set the environment. I mean, a user, for example, when you run a command, sometime you will set a one environment variable, then you reuse it in the following command, right? I mean, user can.
Okay, you mean
one.
okay.
Yeah, you can read
you want
it
users.
Yeah.
I think we can support. You can comment. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupt. Actually, Lan, we have some offline discussions to choose whether we should introduce a environment variable or use a parameter in the Encarta command lines to specify the mode. We firstly choose the parameter because that for VM case, the difference is the agent is running on the VMs, and we do not have something like the pod or containers which can inject some environment variables automatically by the other modules like kubelates or something like that. So for VM case, if we want to introduce environment variables, it means that we may require an additional user steps to set the variables, and we may require the user to ensure that the environment variables is set in the machine level, not only the shell level. So I don't think it is a simple step for the user to
I got your point. I didn't mean you have to choose one or another way. I just mean that you can have this parameter, and meanwhile you can have the environment variable, right? Just like the config parameter. I think when we didn't impose a parameter with a value, it will read from the environment, right? I mean, in that, just like that way, not
so you mean that both two solutions? Sorry. So
yeah.
I just want to confirm. You mean both two solutions are expected?
Yeah. I mean that we can have this mode parameter and allow user to set it explicitly, right? But if the user want to use an environment variable and like to remove this parameter, just save the step in each command, then it's maybe it's. I just mean you can do it like the config way.
Perhaps more explicit and user-friendly way is to have a command, a sub-command to set the mode of Ancato and persist the config in a standard and CTL paths like the dot and CTL file under the home directory of the user, like kubeconfig, so that user could switch mode at one time and don't have to specify the mode for the following commands. When setting up the environment, they could use antctl set mode VM and just execute it once. Then we write this mode into the config file. And then user don't have to specify the mode for the following commands. And if they want to switch to connect to a Kubernetes cluster, they could change the mode, like set mode remote or something like that. Yeah.
I agree with Xuan. That would be better, a better way to do this, and we can extend in the future in this way.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Environment. The problem of environment variable is to implement implicit. We either want to know that without looking at our document carefully, and it's not persist after opening another terminal.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I will add a command called set mode, and then we can use this one to set the mode and don't need to set this mode flag every time.
But we still keep the dash mode flag, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So there is no,
Yeah, no, I don't have any. I was just asking if there is any other question for you, Mandy.
Yeah, I don't have any other thing to show. So if there's no question, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, sounds good. Let's wait a few more seconds for additional questions. And it appears that it might be all for Mengdi. Thanks a lot for this presentation. And we had two very good presentations today. It was a very good meeting. And since we have still some time, if there is any other topic that you would like to bring up, please go ahead. Waiting a few more seconds. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to bring up for myself. And well, it looks like that it may be all for today. So I would like to thank everyone for attending, and most importantly, thanks for Han and Mandy for the presentations. And see you in 2 weeks' time for the next instance of the community meeting. Thanks again, and I wish everyone a good afternoon or a good night. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.